The Secret to Massive Productivity, Tony Robbins. The moment of frustration. Jackson Hayes sat alone in his home office at 2 a.m., surrounded by stacks of unfinished projects. His laptop screen glowed with half-written proposals, overdue invoices, and a blinking reminder: client call in 3 hours. He rubbed his temples, recalled the promise he made to himself at the start of the year to double his revenue. Hayes felt a knot tighten in his chest. He'd woken up each morning with lofty intentions, but by nightfall, distractions, fatigue, and overwhelm had stolen every ounce of his focus. He had resources, talented contractors, a modest marketing budget, digital tools, but no breakthrough. Why can't I get more done? Jackson whispered into the empty room. In that moment, he stumbled onto a clip of Tony Robbins' teaching. It's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. That phrase echoed in Jackson's mind. It ignited something, a spark of possibility. He realized he had everything he needed. What he lacked was a massive productivity system grounded in purpose, clarity, and unstoppable momentum. From that sleepless night onward, Jackson committed to uncovering the secret to massive productivity. The awakening purpose before action. Tony Robbins teaches that true productivity springs from clarity of purpose. He says, if you don't know your outcome, you'll never know when you've achieved it. Jackson had been chasing busyness, not results. He began with a profound exercise, his RPM system. Results, purpose, massive action. Results. What specific outcomes did he want? Purpose. Why did those outcomes matter? Massive action. What critical steps would drive those results? Jackson wrote in his journal until 4 a.m. Sought land 3 new high-ticket clients in the next 60 days. Purpose. To secure financial freedom, validate his expertise, and build momentum. Massive action. Craft a targeted outreach campaign. Refine his signature offer. Host a free mini-workshop. The state. Shift mastering your physiology. Robbins insists that state, your emotional and physical condition, determines your behavior. Jackson had spent his days hunched over his desk, skipping meals and binge-checking emails. His state was one of fatigue and frustration. He adopted a new morning ritual: priming, 5 minutes of deep, rhythmic breathing. Movement, 10 minutes of bodyweight exercises to spike his neurochemicals. Gratitude, listing 3 things he was grateful for, out loud, with energy. Visualization, seeing himself delivering powerful proposals, signing contracts, celebrating wins. That first week, Jackson felt a tangible shift. His energy surged. Tasks that once felt burdensome now seemed conquerable when a looming deadline threatened to paralyze him. He paused, took 3 conscious breaths, and recalled, it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. With calm determination, he returned to work and plowed through 2 major deliverables in a single afternoon. Breaking the overwhelm, chunking, and scheduling. Overwhelm is the enemy of productivity. Tony teaches to break big visions into chunks and schedule them with purpose. Jackson mapped his 60-day goal into weekly milestones. Week 1, 2. Define offer, build landing page, create outreach list. Week 3, 4. Record mini workshop, run ads, host first live session. Week 5 to 6. Follow-up sequences, sales calls, close first client. Week 7 to 8. Onboard, deliver results, upsell existing clients. He used time blocking, assigning specific hours for creative work, marketing, and administrative tasks, protecting each block like a sacred appointment. He installed a simple app that locked him out of distracting sites during focus periods. Leverage and delegation, expanding capacity. Robbins often emphasizes, if you want to do more, do less, delegate. Jackson realized he was drowning in low-value tasks, formatting spreadsheets, scheduling social posts, responding to routine emails. He decided to free himself for high-leverage activities. He hired a virtual assistant to handle calendar management, basic client inquiries, social media scheduling. He outsourced graphic design to a freelance platform. He used automations for email follow-ups. Within 2 weeks, Jackson reclaimed 10 hours per week. He used that time to craft his mini workshop, network with potential partners, and refine his messaging. His productivity no longer depended on his personal bandwidth, expanded through leverage. The power of proximity surround yourself with winners. He also secured a coach who held him accountable to his RPM plan. That coach challenged him mercilessly. Why is that task still unchecked? What's your result for today? Jackson felt pushed, tested, but he thrived. Within a month, his confidence soared. He pitched a mini workshop on a live event stage and converted 15% of attendees into paid clients on above-market conversion rate. He realized Robbins' truth. We become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. The 90-minute focus technique. Deep work is the cornerstone of massive productivity. Jackson adopted a strategy Robbins calls the 90-minute focus, working in intense, uninterrupted sprints, followed by deliberate breaks. He set a timer for 90 minutes, shut off notifications, and tackled his most important task, writing the workshop script. After each sprint, he took a 15-minute break, stretching, hydrating, or meditating. He repeated this cycle 3 times a day. In those focused windows, he produced more copy than he had in weeks of distracted typing. His output skyrocketed. He delivered his mini workshop script in record time, polished and potent, modeling excellence. Find the shortcut. Tony Robbins is renowned for modeling, studying experts to accelerate your own success. Jackson identified 3 productivity gurus: an online course creator, a best-selling author, and a tech founder. He devoured their interviews, reverse-engineered their routines, and adapted their habits. Waking at 5 a.m. for uninterrupted creation, journaling to capture daily wins and lessons, a weekly power hour to strategize upcoming priorities. He implemented these into his routine. Within days, his mornings became his most productive time block, free from meetings and email drowned, embracing the edge, pushing past comfort. Robbins teaches, if you're not growing, you're dying. To break through plateaus, Jackson resolved to operate at the edge of his comfort zone. He signed up to speak on a TEDx stage, even though public speaking terrified him. He launched a beta version of his high-ticket program without waiting for perfection. He reprogrammed failure as feedback. Each stumble fueled his evolution. When his first TEDx talk had rough patches, he iterated. He asked attendees for honest critiques and integrated their suggestions. By the 3rd rehearsal, his presentation was tight, compelling, and conversion-ready. That bold push transformed his audience, engagement, his self-belief. The role of rituals sustaining peak performance. Sustained productivity requires daily rituals. Jackson crafted evening and morning rituals to protect his state. Morning ritual: hydrating, a tall glass of water with lemon. Priming, breathwork, movement, gratitude as before. Review: glance at daily RPM plan, visualize success. Evening ritual: shutdown, log tomorrow's tasks. Clear desk, reflection, journal, 3 wins and 3 lessons. Recovery: light stretching, reading fiction, lights off by 10 p.m. These rituals anchored Jackson's days, providing consistency that fueled his momentum. Overcoming procrastination, the 5-second rule. One powerful Tony Robbins tool is Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, endorsed by Tony in many seminars. When you feel hesitation, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch into action. Jackson used this daily, especially for dreaded tasks like financial reviews or cold outreach emails. He'd feel resistance. I don't want to do it. He'd count down and fire off the email. Within seconds, inertia shattered. That simple rule obliterated procrastination from his life. It's the growth mindset, progress over perfection. Robbins emphasizes cultivating a growth mindset focus on progress, not perfection. Jackson tracked his daily units of progress, number of calls made, pages drafted, workshop, sign-ups. He celebrated small wins. When a sales call went poorly, he debriefed. What can I learn? What can I improve? He recorded his scripts, listened back, and tweaked his approach. Every misstep became a stepping stone, integrating wellness, mind, body, spirit. Key: true productivity is holistic. Key sank, realized burnout loomed if he ignored health and relationships. Key integrated movement, 3 weekly strength workouts, daily walks, connection, weekly date night with his partner, weekend calls with family. By honoring his whole self, he sustained higher energy and creativity. The power of contribution fueling motivation. Robbins teaches that giving back amplifies one's drive. Jackson launched a scholarship for up-and-coming entrepreneurs to join his program, free of charge. He hosted quarterly free productivity intensives for nonprofit leaders, scaling systems, building for growth, with repeated cycles of RPM, 90-minute sprints, and weekly rituals. Jackson's productivity became a finely tuned machine. He documented his processes, created SOPs, and trained his team in the same methods. Now, his brand could grow without him. His team ran daily check-ins using the RPM framework. Productivity soared across the board. Momentum, multiplier, compounding effort. Compounding is not just for finance. It applies to productivity too. Each daily win stacked on the previous one. Small habits, journaling, time blocking, modeled excellence accumulated, creating unstoppable momentum. After 6 months, he spoke at 2 industry summits. His mini workshop had sold out 5 times. None of this was magic. It was a systematic application of Robbins' productivity secrets. The identity shift, becoming the productive person. Perhaps the greatest transformation was internal. Jackson no longer saw himself as someone who struggles to get things done. He was now a powerful creator of results. In Robbins' words, raise your standards. Okay. He embodied that standard. He showed up on time, executed commitments, and pursued excellence relentlessly. Okay. Your blueprint for massive productivity. You may be reading this and feeling stuck, overwhelmed by tasks. Torn between competing priorities, hungry for progress, but trapped in inertia. Jackson's journey is proof. Massive productivity isn't reserved for a select few. It's accessible when you get clear. Define your RPM results, purpose, massive action, master state. Use physiology, breath, and focus rituals. Chunk and schedule. Break goals into small, time-blocked actions. Leverage and delegate. Free yourself for high ROI work. Contribute. Serve others to amplify your drive. Remember, it's not about resources. It's about resourcefulness. You already have the capacity to produce extraordinary results. Your secret weapon is your psychology of standards, your rituals, your massive actions.